Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to learn about important characteristics of object-oriented programming, that is inheritance. So first of all, what is inheritance? So inheritance is a way of creating the new class. We'll make a new class for using details of an existing class. So we'll have the two classes and they will interact in a way that one classes will be parent and another is the class that will inherit some characteristics from the parent class. So let's see how this new formed classes will be the derived classes or the child from the parent class, and the first class, that is the existing class, will be our base class or the parent class. So let's see. So we have done a couple of coding in the previous lecture. We have just made a class, a board class, that will have the constructor that will be called automatically when you just instantiate the object of the class, and the next one is creating the method of the instance, that is sing and dance. We have created a bunch of instances here saying the penguin, parrot, sparrow. So let's make a new class over here, and this will be also the bird class. We'll just go with the bird here. And now the first method, I have already told you that the first method is going to be the init method, that is going to just instantiate or basically going to get us idea of the constructor. And here I'm going to say that instead of just assigning some of the attributes or properties of the classes, I'll say bird is the class. So this is going to just give us information when just instantiating, that is, this is the bird class. And the next method I'm going to create is info, and I have told you before that the first argument will be only the self here. So next is, I'll just say print, and this is going to be bird. So we are doing is we are just creating some of the methods over here. And now let me say swim method, and in this swim only I'll tell is go bird swim. So this is the masses. So this is our parent class. So let me say this is our parent class, which is the bird class. Let's make another class now, and let's see, this is your child class. So let's make this child class. So it is also created by the same class keywords, and now I'll say parrot is my class. And if you want to get information that is inherited from this bird class, the class should be inserted inside this parenthesis. So this is the inheritance. So let's see what we just did here. We just created the child class, and if you want to inherit something from this bird class, it should be inside this parenthesis. If this wasn't the bird, if it was, let me say, penguin, then it should be inside this parenthesis. If you want to make use of that code, it should be inside this parenthesis, but in this case we are making bird, so I'll just stick with this bird. And now after the bird, we have to define the init method again, because it is also the new class, and the first method to any class will be init. I've already told you before. So I'll just say self again. And now here what we're going to do is we are going to print something. So we are going to print parrot is the class. Let's see, this is the class. The next thing what you're going to do is we are going to define info for this class too, and this is going to print us that this is penguin, not penguin, it is parrot. And the next thing is parrot will just, let me say, run, and I'll say self again, and just give some information here, run boy faster. Okay, we're just creating a bunch of method to this parrot class now. So I've told before that while you create the class, the next thing you need to do is instantiate the object of that class, that is to make the instance of the class. So first of all, let me say that is parrot is the name of the parrot, and let me just instantiate this parrot. And we don't need to pass anything to this while instantiating, because this init method is going to be called and there is nothing except the self. So self is not to be instantiated or given any parameter to that. That means it will just call this parrot. So let's say this is parrot, but if I say parrot, and if you just remember from the previous lecture, if you want to call any method of that class, it should be done from the object dot, and just say I'll just call info. Okay, and the next is parrot dot, and let's see, I want to call swim. Let's save this and press F5. So let's see what we have just done here is we're not getting any error. So if you just remember, we are just creating the instances, we are just calling the info method, which is the method inside here. But if you see swim, can you see swim anywhere over here? We are just making the instances, we are not making instances of this bird class. If it was the bird, then we don't have any problem, because info is also inside the bird, swim is also inside the bird. In this case, we'll see that okay, go bird swim, bird is the class, so that is perfectly fine. But here we're not dealing with the bird, but we're dealing with the parrot, and still we're not getting any error. We are getting go bird swim, although this method, this swim method, is not inside this parrot. So this is the one part of inheritance. So what we just did was we just had the inheritance. That means everything that is inside this bird class should be also inside this parrot class. So what we just did was we just copied everything from this and we just copied over here. So init method is not going to be copied, but except init method, everything is going to be copied. So this swim method, info method will be copied from the bird class to this parrot class. So that means we can call this swim method as if it is inside this parrot class, although it is not in the parrot class, but we just did inheritance. That means we can call this swim method. So that is the importance of this inheritance in the object oriented programming. So next thing I want to show you here is the super method. So if I say super, and if I just call this init, let's see what is happening over here. Let's save this first and press F5. Then it is saying bird is the class, parrot is the class, parrot go bird swim. So let's see, let's put it right here and let's show you what is happening here. So first of all, what we did was we just created the parrot object, so no problem over here. We are getting this init method to be called now because we are just instantiating this. So if you just call or invoke this init method, which is the constructor of this parrot class, we have this super method. So super is just pointing to this super class, that is the parent class. So we are referring from this super that this super should call this bird class and this init method is invoked. That means this print bird is class is going to be invoked first. That means if you see over here, bird is the class was the first thing that is going to be printed, because this is the first method that is invoked by this statement. After that it will go here and it will print parrot is the class in the next statement, which is over here, parrot is the class. And after that it is invoked, it will just call the info method of this parrot, which is this, and it will just print parrot, which you can see over here. And last is swim, which is obviously not in the parrot class, but we have the inheritance. That means we can also call the swim method of the parent class, and it is giving us information of go bird swim. It's right over here, go bird swim. So if you see here, this super method is going to just deal with the super or a parent class, which in this case is bird. And the one way to just find child class and parent class is if you just make this class, and inside the parenthesis if you have any other class, this is going to be your super class or a parent class, and this class which is going to inherit that parent class is going to be the child class. So this is the inheritance which we just learned over here. So this is very important paradigms of the object oriented programming, and this is the important things to learn. So we'll see how to work with these and work with the networking interface while we hack and we just do some of the bunch stops in the Python programming section. See you in the next one.